Hello, I welcome you to our second podcast.
Hello, hello.
Today we decided, because we are in front of Christmas and we know there's a lot of questions and um, a lot of people are start baking panettone, and I try to talk a little bit about panettone. What is a motivation, what is a goal, and all these kind of things.
How
Yeah,
many panettones we did these the last weeks?
we did a lot of panettone all over, but it's not like a product which
No, no, not a product
yeah.
which we enjoy necessarily to do it.
No, it's not. I can, yeah, actually, I cannot eat it anymore because I was eating too much in my life, and it's also panettone. It's now a becoming also in unfortunately, in my point of vision, it becomes like a competition in the internet,
Yeah, yeah.
which
Who has the biggest holes?
yeah, exactly, and
Everybody forgets about the taste.
yeah, not actually like this, but now a panettone is only measured about the holes, of course. A good here is a
The first question, what I want to put you, what makes a panettone a good panettone for you?
okay. First of all, a good panettone for me is a panettone which has a good structure. He has to be
Shreddery.
shreddery. Of course, if he has a lightly crumb, open crumb, it's for me good. It is has to be a big difference to a brioche, of course,
Yeah.
and of course the taste. Yeah, here is I think the question of taste goes separately way, because you remember when we was in Italy in the World Championship and we was eating a lot of panettone also over there. 90% of this panettone was all too sweet for me, but this
For me
is
also, yeah.
yeah, it's my point of vision. How I see this is different. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other people are right, but
It's a matter of taste,
yeah,
like in
exactly.
everything.
It's a matter of taste. Yeah. When we go back to panettone, for example, over the years, I started panettone make 2014, and over the years, it become richer and richer.
Yeah, I think the recipe from 2014 is
Yeah, it was. I
very
think
different.
with yeah with I was thinking with 50% butter, I'm already in the limit, and then I saw people putting 70% and more, and then I become like thinking now.
Butter became like water.
Yeah, butter became like yeah, all is around the butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but it's yeah, also with the time I put myself in the same track, and it's not like before when I saw this, I was always thinking it has to taste very buttery, and it's actually it's not like this.
Yeah, because if the mixing is good and
It's
the process, all the process is
yeah,
made.
it's like a little bit also the olive oil brioche. A lot of people thinking the olive oil brioche has to taste
Yeah,
like olive oil, like oily,
and
and
it's not.
it don't taste at all like
It's
this.
like a cotton actually.
Yes, and okay, then the challenge is always okay. Start with a pasta madre.
How you prepare your? Okay, you have to start. It's coming November. It's starting the panettone fever. What preparations you, Claudio Ferrando, make for this time of panettone? What you prepare?
Yeah, of course. First of all, I prepare the pasta madre again.
But we have the pasta madre the whole year. Now we
Yeah,
only
but not in the same. We don't feed in the
no
same
no.
rhythm. Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, we get a schedule for feeding, and of course, when it comes to the point that we produce panettone, then the schedule, the time schedule is very important. The flour is very important, which kind of flour you are using. And of course, I select the eggs, where I buy my eggs. There's also,
how important it is.
yeah, the eggs, the butter, and
But it's important for the people to know that they have to have a pasta madre actually the whole year to
nice.
or at
Actually,
least to have it not.
alive.
No, a lot of people, at least in my community, they think they make 1 week before a pasta madre and they can make a panettone.
It can
It can be.
work. It's a question of how you how the panettone comes out. You can be also lucky. I saw people, they convert a sourdough, a liquid sourdough, in pasta madre, and next day they made a panettone with it, and it was coming out good. This is
Depends what is good for you or for.
no, I saw decent results about this, and sometimes it's also a kind of luck. What you have, or the combination with the flour. It's not, yeah.
Yeah, but the idea.
There is also, you know, exactly. Also, there are people that make panettone with liquid sourdough, and they swear on it. It's not only all about pasta madre. Yeah. This
Yeah.
is, yeah. It's pasta madre is a sourdough which actually it's made and trained. It's designed, not designed. Yeah, it's made for panettone. We have different kind of feeding system and keeping system. You can wrap it up, you can keep it in water overnight, or you let it freestanding. Yeah. Finally, it's
We like freestanding.
yeah, of course, because my
We like freestanding.
for my point of for how I work, it's very difficult to have this huge pasta madre in the water. And second of all, if I do it each day in the water, I have the feeling that my pasta madre is losing force, yeast. Yeah? And I do it once or 2 times a week.
Bagnetto.
Not bagnetto. Bagnetto is when in the morning after the fridge, for before feeding, you make a bagnetto. That's okay. But to let it like.
You mean to let it like.
Okay, we have to go to the feeding. For example, we stand up at 7 o'clock in the morning. We feed it, and then we let it 4 hours in 28 degree. After these 4 hours, normally we feed it again, and we let it in 18 degree. Here is the point: 18 hours in 18 degree. You can let it in water, or you let it freestanding, or you wrap it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is my observation. Wrapping, for me, too much work. I don't see any difference. Water, if I do this each day, is also a lot of work. It's a lot of mess. Yeah. And for my feeling, if I do this each day,
I think each baker is making his own.
yeah, it's like a religion.
Yeah.
You believe in it, and then maybe it works. I have the feeling like this.
And then you said about eggs, how you choose your ingredients, how you choose your flour, how you choose your butter, how you choose, I don't know.
For example, I have yes, all is over the experience. I have a rule: I don't use flour which are stronger than, let's say, W380. Yeah, because I personally believe that all the flour which are stronger than W380, they have to have any kind of help, additional help. Yeah, and that's against my nature to use.
Because we know that there are some W's on the market which they are high.
There are flours on the market until W600, and this cannot be a flour. It's impossible because there's no wheat growing in the field who has a W like this. Yeah, and it's also about what is available. Yeah, between
exactly.
between 340, 350, you can get also in Latin America if you travel. And if you depend then only on a very, very strong flour, and you come to a place, and then the things are not working. And then with a W, I make also, I consider my volume. For example, when it goes to fermentation for the first doke, I say, okay, W 300, 340 is for me minimum 3 times volume. More, if I have a W 350, 360, I can also go 3.5 volume. If I have 400, I go at least 4 times. Yeah. This means if I have 450, then I have to go close to 5 times. Yeah.
You know what is the best flour always? What you can get.
Yeah. And which works. Yeah.
And which works.
Yeah. With the eggs, we have also the experience. There is, first of all, we try
We
to.
had before the experience. One was very yellow and nice, and the other one was like with.
Yeah, okay. Here we have not so access to very good eggs, but for example, in Romania, we got
we had
very good eggs, and you could even feel it in
the texture. It was
in the structure.
structure, yeah.
Everything was different also in the taste. Even when you made only an omelette, it was much better. Yeah. Then the sugar amount, for example, I always I'm around between 40 and 44, maybe 45. When you work with chocolate, 45, 46, this is a maximum. 50% for me is too sweet. It's too sweet. This is my personal thinking. When it comes to egg yolk, for example, I have an average which is over 60. It has to be over 60.
And the butter?
Butter from 72 to 80%. Last time we had, for measuring mistakes, for misunderstanding, we had 85. It was also working. But I think, yeah, then we come.
You have fails in Panettone?
Oh, I have at cemetery. I have at cemetery.
It's very important for the people to know that failing is part of the process, and especially Panettone, I think, is the most dangerous product to fail.
Yeah, definitely. It hurts also because there's a lot of ingredients. Exactly. Always what you lose.
When you lose the bread, you lose some flour and water.
And some flour and water, and maybe the crumb is not like you want, but at least you can eat it. It's not like it's like this. But
because it's a whole process, and now we know also mixing technique. How important it is, the mixing technique. It's like a chain from, how you say, a chess. It's from here to here. When you do anything wrong, here in the middle can destroy the whole change.
Yeah, the thing is I actually never failed in my whole life in a first doke. Yeah, in a first doke to fail is, I think it's very hard. It's very hard because, okay, there are key points which we have to know in the mixing. The key point is, it's not like, okay, I start with flour, pasta madre, and water in the first doke, and then I can say, okay, then I put also butter inside, and now I start with the butter. Before I did always this, and it was working very well. The panettone came out good, everything well. But important part is, when you put the butter, you have to have developed before a gluten structure. Yeah. That always when you have developed a gluten structure, it's more
easy to incorporate all what you
exactly. Then, for example, then depends also on the amount of the many times you have maybe a bigger mixer, a smaller mixer. Then the first dough maybe is too big for the small mixer, but too small for the big mixer.
This we know very good.
And that's always the decision where and how to mix. Before we were thinking also the holy grail is the 2-arm mixer, but with the 2-arm mixer we had the same problem. The first dough was too small, and the second
honestly, me personally, I'm not a big fan of 2-arm mixer, but as you say, it's my personal opinion. Other people are making a lot of panettone with 2-arm mixer. I think depends also on your technique of mixing.
Yeah, and mixing technique and the recipe. For example, I try to use a mixing technique which is fast for one way, fast, but sure, because when I have always a feeling, if I mix in a way very long. I get the feeling it doesn't matter it's slow or medium mixing. I have the feeling it's I damage the gluten if I mix too long.
I think now that you tell me, this is one of the things that is different in your recipes to a lot of recipes on the market, that our time for mixing is quite short comparing to other, which I, okay, of course I also stay and I research what other people are doing, and I saw mixing time like 15 more than 1 hour in a dough.
Yeah, maybe it works for them, but for me, for my feeling is I make my first dough in 10 minutes. If it's long, maybe 15 minutes, and the second dough maybe not more than 15-20 minutes. Yeah, it's in a spiral mixer, of course. Yeah, in a 2-hour mixer, the things are always different because the 2-hour mixer always is more slow. But this is normally my schedule. But also I remember in courses which I have done, the students was telling me that yeah, some teachers they are mixing 1.5 hours second dough.
Exactly, but you
Very
know,
slow.
here is the question, because the person who stay at home, because now let's say we talk about home bakers, they believe they have to do the same, but they don't take all the facts that maybe that person is doing in a different mixer, in a different recipe. You know, here is the lack of.
It's also the thing when you have a the I think the slow mixing technique in a industrial big mixer is a different story because an industrial big mixer produce another kind of energy to the dough, like a smaller one. Yeah, this is finally you have to see that you stay with the temperature good.
Exactly. Here is another point with the temperature. A lot of people don't know that the dough gets warm in the mixer, because they all tell me, of course you tell us we have to put the ingredients in the fridge because where you live it's hot. But in Romania, it's for example, it's winter and it makes snow. I mean,
Yeah, it makes
it makes a difference, but still, the revolution of the mixer heats up the dough.
Yeah, of course, but of course, when you enter a flour now with 30 degree, like we do, or with
22.
With 22 or 15 or 18, maybe the people storage the flour in the
Yeah, but still they have to have in mind this, that the dough gets warm in the mixer.
a spiral mixer heat up the dough like 2-3 degree in 5 minutes. Yeah, depending on the speed, like you mix, and of course also how the hook takes.
Exactly.
Each spiral mixer heats up the dough in a different way because it depends how the hook takes the dough.
The mixing affects fermentation?
The fermentation, I would not say, but affects the gluten structure. Yeah, if yeah, you have to see that you don't overmix the dough, and you have to see that you get not hot. Yeah, I try to get my dough out of the mixer between 24 and 26 degree, which is very hard here. We have everything in the fridge. We have the flour in the freezer. We in the second dough is also
everything we put, even the sugar in the freezer.
Yeah, this has to be cold because we have always to drop the temperature.
And then it comes the next step, fermentation.
Yeah, here is the most of the recipes are saying in room temperature between 24.
The first dough.
Yeah, first dough between 24, 26, 27, and like 10, 12 hours, but depend on the recipe. Because mostly these kind of recipes, they have between 70 and 80% of first flour in the dough, and they have pasta madre, let's say between 26 and 30% in the dough. We have in our recipe a lot of pasta madre in the first dough, but we ferment cold in 14, 15 degree because not quite longer, because tomorrow when we stand up after 12 hours, our dough also triple normally in this. But we have much more pasta madre inside, and I don't like to stand up in the morning and to find my dough 5 times and then
you cannot fix it. But if it's not enough, you take it out and you can follow.
Exactly. For example, I stand up in the morning, my dog is only doubled. My goal is always at least he has to double in 10, 12 hours in the fridge. When we are talking about fridge, we are talking about 14 until 16 degree
We
or
have a wine
17.
cooler.
Yeah,
We have to tell them because in the normal fridge you don't get this temperature.
yeah, of course, you need a wine
Wine
cooler,
cooler.
or you need a place where you have maybe 18 degree. Also, before we was working in 17, 18 degree. Now we are go a little bit lower because we had also some accidents in 18 degrees that we stand up and we have 5 times the volume.
Yeah.
You can reduce the pasta madre or you drop the temperature. And for controlling my dog, I prefer it like this. Yeah. And then in the morning, if it's only doubled or 2.5, I take it out after an hour or 90 minutes. My dog has, and then I control it in the volume what I want. And then I start the second dog. But also then my dog has 20 degree or more than.
Don't have the 28.
Yeah, it has not
It's
20.
another advantage here.
Yeah, but the first dog is big and it's warm. You can say in any way it's not cold, it's warm. Then you have to go to enter flour, again water, egg yolk, orange paste, all the other things, and these ingredients over the mixing time can heat up the dough here much more than the first dough, because also the mixing of the second dough mostly takes more time. Yeah. And here I think it's the same rhythm. We do in the same way. We start with flour, with the first dough, and we mix and we develop the gluten. We develop a little bit the gluten, then
Actually, what we do in the second dough, we raise the pH.
yeah, we rise again.
Yeah, because now let's see. What is your opinion about these tools of measurement of the pH of the dough? Because yeah, it's a tema now in the online.
Yeah, of course. Before I was also believing in these instruments, because if you pay 200, 300 euro for an instrument, you expect and you get recommended it and you believe in it. And you see, you measure it and it fit more and less. I get my doubts after, before last course in Hong Kong, William also was sending me a photo with 2 instruments, both calibrated, different pH.
Yeah, that's another thing with the calibration, because a lot of people buy this instrument and you have to maintain very good this instrument so it is sharp. You have to calibrate it each 10, 15 uses, and people, yeah, it's like this because we buy it and we don't calibrate it in time, and then of course it don't shows. Maybe it's not the tool the problem. The problem is also the maintenance of the tool.
Yeah, of course. Also that you put it always in the liquid, that it stays always like this.
Exactly.
You have to be very carefully with this. Yeah, we lost also one instrument because we was not so carefully with it in the beginning, and you think always it resists. What calls my attention when we was in Hong Kong, and also students was bringing the instrument, and I had 4 or 5 different instruments, and each instrument was calibrated. We was also doing this together over there, because it was not only in the moment when we made the picture, this popular picture was going around. It was also, it was not only one time, it was over 2 days we was measuring it, and it and we was calibrating this together. We was doing the things together to see that we get it all sharp. But finally, we find always a big difference.
And the best is that in time you win experience and you read.
Yeah, you try to
like in the bread.
Yeah, you follow your sense, your smell, you observe the surface and all these kind of things, like we did always in the old school. Before we had a system and we was looking this, and that is okay. And yeah, if you have, I think also if you have a pasta madre which is feeded properly each day or over a long time, then you don't reach in this point to get a lot of acidity. Yeah. And
so
then
it depends also what kind of thing, what you put, because now you see that it's a craziness with this pistachio panettone, for example. different flavors, pumpkin, I don't know, and all this influence the acidity.
Yeah, of course,
No.
with this instrument you can measure that the water has. For
Exactly.
example, this was also a thing. We was measuring the water, and the water was in all instruments the same, but the dope was not the same.
Really?
Yeah, the water was in all instruments was showing the same.
Maybe the point in the dog was not the same.
He was also checking this in one point and then in one hole, then in another one, and we did several because everybody was like excited to see what's going on, which instrument is the best, and what is the thing. Yeah, about the flavors, okay, what you like, what it takes. Of course, pistachio get very around, but the most of the we know exactly. If you use to create pistachio flavor in a panettone, it needs at least 20% of pistachio paste, pure. Pistachio paste will eat the gluten. Pistachio paste
It's not green.
is not green.
It's brown.
Yeah. And all the pistachio panettone, what you see, finally they are made with matcha tea or with the hell they are.
Everything what they say is pistachio and is green. It's not from pistachio green.
The best pistachio panettone, what I was eating is when I was putting real pistachios inside. Yeah, this and on the top. Yeah, of course, if you want, you can also make a filling after baking.
Yes.
These kind of things.
But even the cream, it's not green of the pistachio.
No.
It's a green, dark green. Like it's a depends
between
also on
between brown and green. Yeah, it's
but
different.
It's not that green like we see in Instagram pistachio panettone, and it's a green like a.
It's also, I doubt that any pistachio panettone has a pistachio taste.
Yeah, it's only visual. They are panettone for Instagram.
Yeah.
For making a nice picture, and then but that's the thing, because now we also launch the course of panettone these days, and there are a lot of beginners, not beginners in the bread, beginners in the panettone baking, and they, of course, maybe they will try to make a panettone pistachio one day, and they expect the green color. They have to know that it's not green.
Yeah, you have also to know if you work with pure pistachio paste, you are risking the gluten structure. Yeah, because it's attacking the gluten. And when we did pistachio panettone with 8% of pistachios, pure paste, and I was not feeling anything. It was we put also a little bit matcha inside that it's green, but in Romania, I did not feel anything. Yeah. Also, and of course, you can also working with pistachio paste and with white chocolate, putting this together. There's a lot of options, but each kind of option, in my opinion, don't brings the taste what you are searching for.
Like talking about flavors, let's say about chocolate, because it's a very famous. Also the cacao, if you use the wrong cacao, can.
Of course, if you have gluten. Yeah, and cocoa, when you work, it's always better to make a paste, and the paste you enter in the gluten structure, which is already developed. Yeah, if you can also put cocoa powder inside, but if it's alkaline, then it can also affect the gluten. Yeah, that the gluten don't come good together.
Yeah, but they don't know this, and then they stay and they think what I did wrong.
Yeah, of course. I think there are many recipes in the market, and there are many people. They sell also online courses, and I expect normally that everybody has to tell this to his students. Yeah, these kind of small things, very important. For example, with a chocolate, you can also work with ganache. You can work with grated chocolate, very flaky, and put it later on, which melt during the bake. This is also a possibility to incorporate more chocolate flavor inside. Yeah. You have, for one part, you have your, let's say, you have the cocoa, and then you have your fruit, and then you can put a part grated chocolate, like not like Parmesan, not like fine like this, but flaky.
Yeah, on the big grater.
Yeah, that it melted during the the baking process. Yeah, there are many possibilities to do this
And
with
now that
chocolate.
we talk about courses and all this, what is your, I don't know, what is your best advice for a beginner in panettone making? Because yeah, each year we have people who say, okay, this year I try to make panettone.
Finally, what I mostly see with beginners also in my courses when I show them the recipe, and a lot of people I see they fail in the second dough. And this has to do with maybe with a mixing. I observe always the fails what they have, because we have also a lot of people they are very successful with our recipes, but you have more to observe the people which are failing,
Exactly.
because when you can figure out why they fail, I can also help the others or the new students much better. And I see always in the second dog that people are missing volume, and the gluten structure looks always like overstressed in the mixing, that they have not a real feeling between fast and slow mixing. Maybe it's also, sometimes I ask myself, maybe it's also my mistakes that I mix so fast the dough that people think it's so easy, but it's always like between slow and fast mixing. Yeah,
That's a matter of feeling when you get experience, and you can give them an average of how many, because they always ask how many minutes slow, how many minutes fast. They don't
I
understand. You cannot give them only
this.
like
No,
a
you cannot. This depend always on the mixer. Like I say, in a normal Planet mixer, and a Planet mixer, like KitchenAid or Kenwood or all this, I mix between 10 and 15 minutes first dough, and 15-20 minutes second dough. But in a normal spiral mixer, like we have the Sun Mix, they have also 300 revolution. Other spiral mixer has 200 revolution.
depends. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why.
depend, and then it depends also how much dough you have in the mixer. Yeah, you know, our sun mix is not working with the first dough, because it's in our recipe is not enough. If I make more in the mixer, then I don't know where to bake the panettone,
Yeah.
because
At
it's,
home, always you have to adapt.
yeah, at home if you make two panettone, maximum three, that's okay. But we have no production here. Yeah, it's a different story.
We make only for us, for developing, for testing,
Yeah,
for learning, because we also learn.
and also for figuring out with the flour. I'm not afraid to do it also with normal supermarket flour like this. I don't need the last generation.
You know, but let's say other people, they get a little bit of help from
Ah, yeah, of course,
from the flour.
a better flour makes the things always more easy. Yeah, but for example, all the courses what I made in Asia was all done with a W300 flour. Yeah, other persons maybe would say, with a flour like this, I would not even make a panettone. Yeah,
But the
and
challenge is to make always the things with a weaker flour, not with a stronger flour.
yeah, in the moment is a challenge that our second dough is too fast, because after shaping, it takes 2 hours until we can bake, 2.5 hours maximum. Yeah, this is a problem
Maybe
now.
the heat here also.
No,
Maybe
the heat is normal. It's like in a proofer here. It's 28, 30 degree. We have only a lot. We feel it hotter because we have a lot of humidity. But other people they put the panettone in 28 degree in a prover. It's the same what we have in room
and if it's
temperature.
31, 32 is too much.
You come to a point that the butter can melt, and then you damage like this. This is also possible. Yeah, I think panettone is one of the most challenging recipes, and it helps a lot. I think if anybody is passionate, you have to do it. Yeah, it's it's only, of course, also it's very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly how I said today. We put a price, an average price. I think it's lower than what they find in the market, but also they have this price. Any price of any course has to reflect the.
Everybody who sell his. I'm not jealous for the people who charge
200.
500 or 200 or 1000
Because in the end,
for
you put in the garbage and you put
for
so
a
many
course.
ingredients to get a good recipe, which you can take it out. Uh, anyway, it has to be a fair price. But yeah,
Everybody who buy anything has to decide, this is for me okay.
Yeah.
Because last time there was a big conversation in the internet about a panettone, which they charged $120.
Nobody put them to buy.
Yeah, nobody put them the gun on the head to pay this price. And then later there was everybody was crying why this panettone is so expensive. Okay, everybody buys an iPhone from Apple for 1,500 euro, and the other one from Realme for $300 do the same job. Yeah, nobody put you the gun on the head. Yeah, everybody has his preference, and I think this is yeah. And I would not charge $1,000 for a course, because and of course people failing, they are failing, and we have to. People are buying a course, they are coming, they have expectation, they are coming and asking me later on questions, and I have to follow up with this, and I hope they are successful. Yeah, and yes, I think a good teacher is not when he is by himself.
Yeah,
Make always good bread and good panettone. A good teacher is even your students are showing that they was learning anything from him, and then each prize is it's okay. This is my opinion. I'm now we are starting also to produce some panettone, selling something, and this is the goal for the next weeks.
Now I like you to say goodbye. I go to put the panettone dog in the fridge.
Yeah, genau. We have to put the panettone dog in the fridge, and our next podcast is about fermentation. Yeah, and I see you soon. Goodbye. Good night.